can record. Okay, so it's recording, so I'll be able to send you a copy of the recording afterwards.
Okay.
Okay, and let me just set up the Instagram, which is sometimes a challenge.
Okay.
But thank you very much. I think this was definitely just, I think when you were speaking last week, and I was like, yes, people need to hear your story.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
I really thank you because I mean, of course, well, for me, to say that to other people, it felt egotistical in a sense.
Mm,
I mean, obviously, I am very spiritual. I meditate a lot. I pray a lot, and once I like became real in tuned with hearing, spirit and like just having the discernment to say, okay, this is not just a voice, that you're hearing, and not necessarily, just like hearing the words per se, but what I feel inside. I said, all right, it's okay to share it. So, for you to just kind of be right on time, I'm like, oh, right, like spirit, you were right
mhm.
as always. So I thank you so much, just for the opportunity.
I think when you said the magic word upstate, because I love upstate New York.
I I know you told me. And like the funny thing is, I mean, of course, us city people, we consider it to be upstate, but it's not that far.
Yeah, yeah. But if it's beyond Metro North, then it's considered upstate.
That's
Even
right.
though I mean the Metro North goes to Poughkeepsie, but you know.
Yes, yes. Yep, a little past that, then you are getting on Amtrak.
Yeah, yeah, yes. It's like, yeah, Wappingers Falls, that just makes it in.
Yep, it does, right before Poughkeepsie. Right before.
Oh, you're before Poughkeepsie. Wappingers Falls is before Poughkeepsie.
Yeah, yes, like literally. Sorry, because I got the notification. Is literally I am really right in between Fishkill and Poughkeepsie. Like Fishkill is on one side, Poughkeepsie is on the other.
Oh, okay, okay. I haven't been to Fishkill. That's someplace I would like to visit.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I don't really ask a lot of questions. I basically like to let the speaker share their story because stories heal. So people can just hear your stories, and then that's when the questions will come in.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mhm.
I thought maybe you had questions for me. I didn't really know how this would go, obviously.
Yeah,
Okay. Well,
yeah. And sometimes it doesn't matter. I can say, oh, it's gonna go this way, and life has, other plans.
of
So
course.
but yes, if you could introduce yourself.
Okay. So I am Azure Blue of Blue's Holistic Garden. Um, so far, um, my business, it has gone through a couple of names already. Just with me being on this holistic journey, it started out as Azure's Blues and Spirituals, and there were so many different thoughts and ideas. I just figured why not, just name it Blues Holistic Garden. Why I consider it to be a holistic garden is because, of course, in gardens, things grow. And just with the many experiences that I've had over the years and the many changes, that I went through, um, gardening became a space for me, like just where I felt so connected to everything and everyone. Because we we have a very similar life cycle to plants, and how they grow and how they come to. They start out as little seeds, just like how we do. and with nurturing and love and with care, they grow and they blossom, to be what their final, stage of living is. And I mean, we basically do the same things. I think I
Sorry.
lost you.
Yeah, no, I had the mute button on. So, how did you get started? Like, what is your story? What is your introduction to all of this?
Um, I've always been pretty spiritual. Initially, I grew up. I wouldn't say in a religious home, but my mom, she was Seventh-day Adventist, and I had an experience. Let's see, 21 years ago, where I was incarcerated, and from that experience, I didn't necessarily start losing faith in a higher power, but because I was introduced and I had more access, to other religions. After looking into them, a bit, I just figured like I always, believe in a higher power, but who basically states, well, for me, why did I need to only, belong to one religion? So that was, somewhat of what I would say started this journey. But in 2017, I would say like that's what really started the journey for me. I had a second child. I had a daughter this time, and there were a lot of things that I didn't like and understand about myself. So I just went, on. I guess you could say I started soul searching. I started asking family members questions, just in regard to how things were within the family before I was born, some of the things that my mom went through, my dad. And from there, I guess I kind of delved, like a lot more into spirituality. I've always been interested in just doing things in a very natural way, in a holistic way, from from the time when I was younger. I'm not a person that enjoys taking any type of medication that a physician would recommend to me. So that was part of how it, I guess you can say how the journey started. And I was always pretty conscious about what I put into my body. So I mean, I enjoyed reading, so I would read a lot, about things. I was intrigued a lot also just with people who lived holistic lives. It was just always something that interested me. So of course, once I became an adult, and once I knew like, hey, you have the option, I just started to adjust my habits and just the way that I did things. So once I started asking a lot of questions and understanding like my behaviors more so, um, my reactions as well, because that was something that was pretty big for me. I have big emotions, like a lot of people, and I wasn't taught to express them in a healthy manner. So I mean, just like soul searching, trying to understand me better. And the more that I would give time to me and understand myself more, I realized that spirit would speak through me even during my painful moments to help others. So then from there, it would make me think of just like some of the experiences that I had when I was younger. There have been times, like where I would tell some of my family members how I would see people in the home that weren't there to them. They weren't there, but I could see them. Like I just remember some experiences with spirits, from young, and just from, some of these experiences. And I guess you could say the negative experiences that I had growing up, and even in my adult years, since it brought me closer, to the creator. I started to see, and like I started to see what ways could I share this stuff with other people, and I guess give back so that some people could experience the same things that I did, the breakthroughs that I experienced.
So you had a lot of clairvoyant experiences?
Yes. Yes. I also experienced epiphanies. At one point I was experiencing them a lot. Um, Something else, it was like it would appear as if I would have nightmares sometime that felt so real, to where I would wake up, um, I guess, in a sense, still afraid, as if there was, a being there with me or so. But yeah, some of those experiences, it brought me closer to this.
And you were the only one in your family who'd ever had these kinds of experiences.
Honestly, I don't know. Like I'm not even gonna lie. I don't know. I do come from a pretty large family. I'm one of nine. I've never heard any of my other siblings, speak in regard to, some of the experiences that I had, like some of the clairvoyant experiences, as well as the nightmares.
So, so now that you have gone through that, what are some things that you would say to people who are experiencing that, who are in a family that may not be as receptive to that? Because that's sometimes we do get questions here about, I do have these experiences, but what, how can I relay them to other people without them thinking that there's something wrong with me?
What I would say is find one friend who will not judge or call you crazy, because that is something that I have heard the majority of my life from my family. And because, I've heard like that I was crazy so often, I couldn't share these experiences, although sometimes like the epiphanies, when they hit, they just hit, and there's really no controlling what's going to come, like through you, in a sense. But find you, either one or two friends. If your family doesn't understand the things that you're going through, just know that everybody is not going to understand you, and of course it is easier said than done. But find that community, you know. Like I have one friend who I can share it all with, and whether she understands it or not, she's still very, very supportive, you know. A lot of the time, especially in families, what they don't understand, they will ridicule and they will judge, you know. But again, I mean, it's of course these things are easier said than done, but just continue to believe in yourself. Excuse me, like just have faith in who you are and in these experiences, because there is some kind of message in all of the experiences. Like there's a lesson there, no matter what.
Thank you for sharing that. So What came first, the shamanism or the Kundalini yoga or the breath work?
You know what? So I'm gonna say the Kundalini and the breath work because I just, like started to acknowledge like Azure, you are a shaman. But honestly, I think it was the shamanism. When I read up on shamanism, I read that a lot of people who are shamans, spirit comes to them and through them when they're young, between the ages of like 9 and 13. And just thinking, of some of my experiences, like the years when I started to rebel between about 10 and 14, you know? So I think that I was rebelling all the way around. you know, I was rebelling the gifts, I was rebelling, family. Like I think the shamanism came first, but who in today's society, it's like, how do you really know this if there's no one, around you that are practicing these things, or, who believe in these things? Like I was always the child that was into astrology and voodoo and witchcraft and things like that, and not to be interested in it in a negative way. I was very curious, but I was curious because I was so drawn to it, so I think the shamanism came first, but I think spirit, has, like, as I stated, got tired of me in the last few years and is like, you are going to accept this role.
So what is a shaman, and what role would a shaman have in urban New York 2023?
I think more people are shamans than they know. That's first and foremost. A shaman is basically like an overall healer. A shaman is someone, who you can go to somewhat like as a therapist, someone who you confide in, like as your friend, a person who can assist and guide you on many different journeys, be it spiritual, familial, personal, and not saying that I am, so super experienced at these things, but I believe that like a shaman is just that person who a person who people just go up to and they just feel safe with, no matter what, whether they know you or not.
Okay, someone that they feel safe and comfortable with.
Very safe and comfortable. Hmm.
Okay. And so, because I know sometimes when we hear shaman, we, often have a different definition of someone who goes off into the woods and has visions and things like that. But that's a very nice and relatable definition of shamanism. You
Oh,
know,
please don't think shamans don't have those visions. um, the visions come in dreams. Like, oh my goodness. I I was afraid to dream for a long time because, as I stated, I used to have nightmares. And that's where the visions come to me in my dreams. I can know everything just like that from a dream. Be it if I have my oldest child, he's 21, and when he was going through a few things, he wasn't living with me, he was going to school in the city. I could immediately know when something was wrong. And it wasn't just from in here. If he popped up in my dream in some kind of way, and it may not have been exactly what he was going through, I knew that that was something for me to, to jump right in. With family as well.
Okay. Okay. So the shamanism came first. And where did the breathwork and Kundalini come in?
That came during the pandemic. I always knew that I wanted to be a yoga teacher. I stated, I want to say maybe my daughter's 7, so probably about 6 years ago, I remember telling her dad that I really wanted to teach yoga, that I loved it so much because yoga saved my sanity during my incarceration, yoga and meditation. Like I did it faithfully whenever they hosted the classes. And because of how relaxing and calming it was for me, I knew that you can hit end. Excuse me, sorry. I knew, like that I wanted to share that. Yeah, that's good. I knew that I wanted to share those experiences. Did I know that I was going to be a Kundalini yoga teacher? Absolutely not. um, I didn't know what style of yoga I wanted to study. And since there were a lot of classes online, um, I saw 2 ads actually pop up on Facebook. And I had this one lady just reach out to me one day. And at the time, I don't know what it was with her, but I didn't sign up immediately that time. And then I reached out to a different place thinking that it was her. And when I saw, that Kundalini yoga was more focused a lot on breath work, I was like, let me give this a try, because I mean, and just from experiences, just from me reading and being completely aware of myself and paying a lot of attention to myself. Before I started the Kundalini yoga, I noticed that whenever I would experience an emotion, my breathing would change, so once I read up on the Kundalini yoga, I'm like, let me give this a try and see what this is about. And I grew to love it. I mean, it was a journey completing the 200 hours. And it was a journey completing the 200 hours because just like the majority of the world, a lot of us, we are like on these healing and spiritual journeys and just doing the shadow work, the work of looking in the mirror and looking at yourself. I thought that I was a lot done with shadow work. And then I realized that this is a forever process, like just healing. Well, there's always going to be something that we have to heal from, right? Um, when I started the journey of learning the Kundalini yoga, the timing that the teacher said, "Oh, you should be finished the course," I couldn't do it. But I couldn't do it just because it was bringing up so many emotions that I just swept under the rug, and didn't really deal with. But the Kundalini yoga, the 200-hour course, oh yeah, it made me deal with them.
Was it in the poses, or what was it in the Kundalini yoga that brought this up? Was it actually the process of raising the Kundalini that brought this up?
Of course, okay, so specific poses, they do bring up certain emotions. And it's not like Kundalini yoga does different poses from other forms of yoga, because all of the poses are the same. There's nothing that's different, really. It's the breath retention, like that you have to build yourself up to do. It was the meditative time. sitting in meditation, it really makes you sit with yourself and look at yourself and dig into yourself, so it was more so the meditation and the breathing. And a lot of people think like that when you meditate, your brain is just shutting off and your thoughts are just going away, and that's not how it works. You have to build yourself up to quieting your mind. So, although I would meditate and do yoga, for my personal wellness, when you're studying, of course, just like when you're studying anything, you're studying as many times a day as you can and as you need to. So imagine I'm doing, a 1 hour meditation 3 times a day. But, that's 3 hours. I'm sitting with myself and then I'm like, whoa, so many emotions, so many feelings, so many thoughts, past thoughts, and not just of things like that have been inflicted on me from other people, the pains and the traumas that I've also inflicted on people, like when you're sitting with yourself and when you think of these things, or rather for myself, as these things were coming up, I was feeling so shameful, you know? So I think that those parts, of the meditations, those were very, like, it was very tough for me, just to think like, oh my goodness, I really did that at one point and I thought that was okay. And of course, like, just with growth, it's like, what made me believe that this was okay to do.
Yeah, that mirror.
Mhm. Although the mirror became my best friend, I love the mirror. Like, I love it. Accountability, oh man. And I mean, I know it sounds crazy to some people, because who wants to be accountable, but it's painful and liberating at the exact same time.
It kind of shatters your self-image if you're like, oh, I've never done anything, like, really.
Mhm. Yeah, you're 1,000% right. It really does. It shatters your self-image, but to me, it also it destroys the ego. Like, it destroys ego a lot. And I mean, just in my personal opinion, I think ego hurts the world, because we're also stuck on ourselves, and think like, as you said, I do no wrong, I didn't do this or whatever. And it's like, no, you know, we, whether it's intentional or unintentional, we all have done wrong. You know, when can the majority of the world just be real with themselves and say, you know what, I did that, it was wrong. What can I do, to move, on the right path? So I mean, I just believe that ego, it hurts the world.
Okay, let's explore breath work, because I know that you said that was something that you are passionate about. So why are you passionate about breath work?
As I already stated, that when we experience any kind of emotion, whether it's a joyful emotion or, a saddening emotion, it changes our breathing, you know? So I am pretty passionate about breath work because breathing is grounding. Once you get control over your breathing, over your breath, it it mellows you out. It's grounding. Not only that, when you're so caught up in your emotions, you know, you don't think clearly. Like no one does. When you're like, say for instance, if you know, if you're a person who's dating or they're in a new relationship or whatever, they get so caught up, you know, in those joyous feelings, they can miss a red flag or whatever. You know, you don't think clearly. So, you know, once you regulate your breathing and you know you clear your mind, then you can think clearly.
Yeah, I was even telling my son today, calm down and regulate, because in the past few years, I've really seen how just stopping to breathe can really make a difference. Just that pause, just it can make all the difference between being hurtful and being calm.
Yeah, yeah, it does. You know, like another reason why I guess became so passionate about breath work. I noticed how a few years ago it was like trendy for people to say woosah, you know, and it's like even myself, like when I before I learned about Kundalini and whatnot, I would say it, but I would still, you know, be worked up about things. And it's like we say and we do a lot of these trendy things without really understanding where it comes from, you know, and how it can actually benefit us, you know. In the communities of the people who look like us, we get so worked up over mean things, you know, a lot of the time. We also like when we get worked up about these things, we don't realize that if we just, you know, take the deep breath, so many harmful things can be avoided, you know?
Yeah, just taking the pause, I should say. Yeah, just taking the yeah, just taking the pause.
Hmm.
Because we just go on automatic so much,
Hmm.
so that we don't. And I think the society kind of has us programmed to not pause, just kind of keep going.
Yeah, yeah, you're so right. We are emotional beings. I think like the first emotion that comes into us is to love, and then you know all of the others they come into play.
Okay, so now that you do these modalities, how do you see how they help people?
Um, so but right now I'm really only focusing on the Kundalini yoga and the breathing. You know, just like I stated, with a clearer mind, I do teach classes Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5:30 in the morning. You know, I have a couple of people. I know it's pretty early, right? But that's the time. That's, you wouldn't believe. I'm usually up every morning between 5 and 5:11. I don't know what it is about that 5:11. Yes. And my alarm goes off at 5:15, and I'm like, why do I have to be up between 5 and 5:11, God, you know? But but yeah, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, you know, I teach these classes. What I've noticed so far with the couple of people, you know, who have done the classes with me, I like to check up, you know, like throughout the day, just to say, hey, you know, how are you going? Or so um it really helps mellow out, you know, their days. It really keeps them, I'm not, well, yes, I will say grounded. It keeps them grounded, you know, and it keeps them very mindful, you know, just of their reactions. I mean, that's something that I do stress a lot in the classes, to always remain aware of yourself, you know. Um, Sometimes something very small could trigger you, And it may not even be that very small thing that's causing, these emotions to come up. So it's what I believe is that it keeps people a lot more aware of themselves.
And these sessions are virtual sessions?
Yes, yeah. I'm a single mom. So I can't get out that early in the morning. So yeah, I offer them via Zoom. hmm
And this is Kundalini yoga that you're offering.
Yes, now we don't I do a few a few of the Kundalini yoga practices, a few of the kriyas. I don't get too deep into it because from what I'm hearing, it is still a pretty new style of yoga, like that's starting to make its way around. And I mean, it's not necessarily a new style of it, but the breath retention, some of the kriyas, they require you to hold your breath. Um, but it's I wouldn't say a long period of time, because how I guide people on doing it, I let them know, do what's best for you. Do not try to hold your breath as long as I do, because of course I'm studying this. But yes, we do some of the practices. I don't want to do too many of the practices in group sessions, because there are also like certain ways that you have to hold your stomach in, like holding your diaphragm, so once I am a lot more comfortable, with teaching this, then the plan is to offer one-on-one classes.
And I know you mentioned that some of this came during the year 2020, which we all know what
Mhm.
happened then. Do you find that to have been a kind of transformative period overall?
Yes. I was already in the process, of transforming my life. I moved out of the city in 2019, so when I moved to where I live now, like everything just felt right, like from the area, and like I could feel all of the transformations, that were happening. So yes, it was a very transformative time. I didn't know how to garden at that time. I taught myself how to garden as well, so like there were so many different things, that were changing.
Okay. Okay, definitely have some people, tuning in and clapping and agreeing with agreeing with what you're saying. So for someone who's going through a crisis in their lives at the moment, what words would you have for them in the realm of shamanism and breathwork and Kundalini? What are like 2 or 3 steps that they could do to try to get themselves into balance?
Um, One step that I would um, give with the breath work, and please, people, don't take this, the wrong way, because this is actually what I was taught in my class. When we go to like when we attempt to calm ourselves down through breathing, be mindful that when you inhale, your body is supposed to blow up like a balloon, right? And then when you exhale, you constrict, you let all of the air out. That in itself will start to regulate you, because what we do, almost everyone, we do paradoxal breathing. We breathe in, but we suck our stomachs in. And that's a bit, backwards. So that's one way that you could calm yourself if you are going through a crisis. Another way, and a lot of people, they may think that they can't do it. Fold your body in like in a halfway fold, like just bend over and try to touch your toes. That is a move that is very grounding, calming, relaxing, and like it. I can't remember what it is like about the blood rushing to your head, but that is something like that will really mellow you out immediately. I mean, I'm still human, so it's not like I don't experience, stressful times or moments. And that is something that I revert back to always. Some days, sometimes I even just do it daily just to make sure, like if I'm going into environments that I'm not 100% sure of or whatever, I'm the person where I'll bust a quick yoga move in the street and then I'm like, okay, I'm good now. um, let's see, a third one. I guess prayer and meditation, and it sounds so cliche. I know it does, but all of the answers are really inside of us, like for every situation, even, like if you have um or if you're experiencing a crisis that involves someone else, when you sit with yourself, and when you kind of rationalize, when you meditate, um, all of the right answers, like they will come to you, like they really will. And there was something that I wanted to say in regard to the meditation that I didn't say. A lot of the time people think that your thoughts are just supposed to stop during meditation, and they're not. When you, especially if you're new and you're starting out with it, you want to welcome those thoughts. You want to allow them to pass through, right? You don't want to try to resist them, because just like anything in life, the more you try to resist something, the harder it comes at you. The thoughts will do the exact same thing. You allow the thoughts to come, you know you can question it or not, but you let them run wild, like a puppy, or even like a small child. You just let them run wild, and if you let it run wild, they will eventually subside, you know and that's how you work your way up to quieting your mind completely.
Oh, that's the deep breathing, the very deep abdominal breathing, and
Yeah,
then bending
yeah. I
is when you
mean,
said that you just stop in the middle of the street and just do a
oh
yoga
yeah,
pose. Like that's such a
oh
New
yeah,
York thing.
it is, right. Like the day I met you, I stepped outside of my car, and for some reason, like those parking meters, I had the app on my phone, but it wouldn't work, and I was like, oh man. I felt myself getting worked up. I literally bent right over and was like, okay, calm down for a moment. And then I stood up, and a friend called and was like, what's going on? It's your birthday or whatever, and they ended up helping me. But yes, I will, if I need to, I will bust a yoga move out in the middle of the street. Oh, you know what? Another. I can show you a practice. And I actually have this on my page. It's alternate nostril breathing, right? And this is very big in, it's a very big practice in Kundalini yoga. It is very calming as well. This is my driving practice for when I have to come into the city. because the traffic can get so crazy. And, you can sit in one spot for 10 minutes, as the GPS would say, 10 minutes. The 10 minutes pass by to 30. But you're gonna hold down your index finger and your middle finger. So what you would do is, yep, it seems weird, right? I know. So what you do is, when you hold down your index finger and your middle finger, you take your thumb, you block off one nostril, and you inhale through that nostril, right? And then you alternate and you block off that nostril where you inhaled. You block off your opposite nostril and you exhale. And then you inhale through that same nostril. And then you exhale. And you repeat the process. And you can do that for like 2 to 5 minutes, and you will literally start to feel the calm and the ease. And it is like, oh my goodness, I am in a whole new world.
It does do a little something. Yes, it does.
Yeah, it does. I make my kids practice that too at times. So, oh, you know what? It was something else that you asked about, a crisis. And of course, when we're going through crises, like we sometimes we question ourselves, and we're like, well, it's not even we question, but when you hear it coming from someone else, it's like, I can't think to do that, when I'm in a crisis. But you never know how helpful it might be. Get a hobby. Like, honestly, get a hobby. And it may sound strange, right? Because, and like, I'm not talking about, like a crisis at the moment of crisis, because you could be having, like that moment of crisis, and then, you mellow yourself out, but then who knows, later on in the day, it can resurface. You get a hobby, you get something that you enjoy doing. And if you are not sure of what the hobby is, try some things out. Anything that has ever interested you, that like things that you say, hey, I want to give this a try one day. Try those things. And you never know, that may be that therapeutic thing for you when you are experiencing a crisis.
So try a new habit, and I guess that would help with like anxiety and things like that to kind of
Yeah,
take your mind off. Okay.
absolutely.
And so, what are some of the other services that you offer?
Well, right now, I'm only doing the Kundalini, the yoga classes, but very soon, um, I'm going to offer awareness coaching. I had a sheet of paper here, and I like to call it awareness coaching. I don't like to call it like life coaching or anything like that, because I can't tell anyone, what to do with their lives, right? But we can, together break down some questions, just to make people more aware of themselves in more of a holistic manner, just to make them aware of like their overall diet. What do you eat? What do you watch? If you watch TV, do you listen to music? What type of music do you listen to? Things like that. But yes, I'm going to offer awareness coaching services. Mhm.
And those will be in person or virtual?
Both,
Mhm.
both.
Okay. And do you have any upcoming events down here or up in Dutchess County?
You know what? I don't. I don't have any coming up. Honestly, I just started to connect with those within the wellness community.
Within the community up there?
Yeah, or just overall, like just all the way around. So I've been an optician for the last 16 years. So yeah, so like I'm transitioning out of it, into holistic health.
That's very interesting. Have you looked into iridology?
No, no, I didn't.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Oh, I didn't
Hmm.
realize that you're an optician. Oh,
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, okay, okay. So I want to ask you if you can share a little bit more about your shamanic path. Is there anything else that can be shared about that?
Um, like what? Ask questions.
Ah,
Because I mean, like honestly, you know what? It I'm gonna be so honest. So I have been on the fence for like the last 2 months, in regard to sharing that. And as I stated, I'm the person where things come to me mainly in dreams, and as I keep seeing this word, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go and get another book on it, like spirit, I'm just gonna get another book and read about it, when I'm the person where I have to get hit in the head for real, to say, all right, I'm listening, you know. Like I believe that that's where the nightmares were coming from because, I was running from things like this. I just wanted to be normal. Like whatever normal is, I didn't want to be different from anyone else for a long time. But I thought it to be pretty egotistical, to say, oh, I'm a modern day shaman. But what mainly like led me to believe and accept this with me being an optician. I worked part-time and it just appears that every person, okay, sweetie, all right, come on. It just appeared as if every person who needed an unbiased, I guess, unlicensed ear, they find me at my job. They find me when I'm shopping, or if I am just out. I like to go on walks, and the other day I took a walk up Mount Beacon all by myself, and people just gravitate to me, and they end up telling me about their health, their family, their relationships. We end up talking about God and either religion or spirituality or whatever. And I always have, as they say, you had the right information for me at this moment. And there are times where I don't know how I know this stuff, but I just feel like spirit is coming through me to assist whomever needs it at that moment. And the joy that I feel from being of service, I never imagined that I would have that feeling and not get paid for it, you know? So once I started to realize that a lot more, I'm like, oh my goodness, is this why I keep seeing this word pop up in these dreams? And I'm telling you, it's like as soon the morning of my birthday, because that was my birthday when I met you last week. The morning of my birthday, I prayed, I meditated, I do my yoga, and I also flip cards for myself. The first time like that I ever read cards for anyone else was yesterday. One of my friends, she was like, please do it for me. But I flip cards for myself. And when I flipped the cards, like, well, before I did it, I was shuffling. And then I I was in my home by myself, and I just kept feeling a presence, and I'm like, okay, you're guiding me to these cards. I'm gonna take them. Maybe I do need a birthday reading. Let's see. I go, and as I'm shuffling the cards, I told myself, I said, I'm going to shuffle them 40 times for 40 years of life. And spirit would not let me do it. I think I shuffled probably about like 27 or 28 times, and there was a stack of cards that kept getting stiff, and I was ignoring it. And the stack of cards got stiff for the fourth time, and I said, you know what? Let me grab this. And when I grabbed it, so many of my cards kept coming up. Spiritual path. Your spiritual path is, it like the breakthrough that you need, the spiritual path. And I'm like, so am I a shaman? Like, really? And then when I met you, and I said it to you when you presented this opportunity, I'm like, Spirit, I hear you. you know I hear you, and I'm not going to run from it anymore. I'm going to accept it.
I think when we were talking, and what struck me was how you talked about spirit guiding. And like, yeah, I accepted that a long time ago. I didn't want to keep getting beat up.
Hmm. And you see, I'm the person, I need a little beating, or I did, because I promise you, spirit will not have to beat me up anymore. um I've always been into allowing other people, to do tarot readings for me and whatnot. Like, I've done it all in a sense. Um, I started getting tarot readings when I was about 17, and I found out that I was pregnant through tarot. I found out that I was going to experience a traumatic event that was going to land me in prison. Even somewhat of what's going on with us now. One of my readings from last year, because I did not like social media at all. um, and one of my readings from last year that someone else, did for me, she said, well, I went for a specific question, and then she kept saying, the spirits need me to, they need me to go further with you, because they said that they have a whole lot more to tell you. And in the reading, it basically told me that I had to be more visible on social media, but they also told me that when I accepted the role that was meant for me, the life that I wanted would start to reveal itself in bits and pieces. Of course, at the time, I'm not going to say I didn't understand it, because you hold things in your mind and in your heart, as to what your vision is, as well as your dreams and aspirations. But, in the world that we live in, the society that we live in, I was still more so worried about how I would be viewed, by others. But then, I mean, obviously, I came to a point to where it's like, I can't worry about how other people would view me. I just have to do what's right for me on this journey.
Absolutely.
So with I guess with some of the people, whose paths I cross, what I mean, aside from the reading last week, just with the people that I come across, and how after I connect with them, we exchange our contact information, and and whatnot. And like, I I don't advise, I suggest things to them, like based on my based on my knowledge of herbs and just like certain practices with my yoga and things like that, and lending them that ear, that they may need, and whatever words, that they need at the moment, and whatever words are right for them. Um, I just figured to accept the role, as shaman, and as I gain more knowledge and whatnot, I just hope to have more, more to offer to people.
Like absolutely on the path for real, absolutely. And I don't believe in coincidence.
Yeah, I don't believe in coincidences neither. Everything happens exactly how it is supposed to. I don't believe in any coincidences in life. I know that telepathy is real, and so like I don't believe in any coincidences. It's just like a lot of thoughts that I that I've had, things have come to, so.
Can you mention something about the way you said the way that you envisioned your life, it would start to happen?
Mhm. Oh, so you say speak more on that. I I always told myself that I wanted to to be a pillar of society in some kind of way. I always wanted to help out, be of service. So what I and I mean I believe I can share it. What I envisioned for myself before, one of my visions is to have a vegetable and herb farm, and like a nice big flower garden where we can do yoga and meditate in it. And I didn't share that vision with anyone, right? I kept it to myself. I journal a lot. That's something that's really big for me as well. I journal a lot. um, when I did the reading last year, when I thought the reading was done, that was what spirit needed the guide to tell me about, to where all I could do was cry, and she was like, "These are happy tears, right?" And I'm like, "Of course they're happy tears." She was like, "And you're not going to question me as to how I know this, right?" I told her, I was like, "Absolutely not." you know, I said, this right here, it's just confirmation that what I want can come to fruition. And it's not even it can, it will, that it will come to fruition. So, that was part of what was told to me, like that once I make myself more visible, my vision, it would, it would start to come to. And so far it is.
People are people are definitely I'm getting notifications of people tuning in and sending hearts and clapping. So that's definitely happening.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Mhm. So, how can people get in touch with you?
Um, if anyone is interested in getting in contact with me, um, you can follow me on Blues Holistic Garden. That's BLEUS Holistic, HOLISTICGARDEN. That's on Instagram. Excuse me. If you wanted to reach out to me directly, my website, um, there are two two domains for it, that, and it all leads to one. The shorter one is AzuresBleus.com.
AzuresBlues.com.
Yes.
Okay. And you said you're on Facebook. What is the name on Facebook?
It's the same thing.
Mhm.
AzureBleu. You may
Okay.
find another one because there is one of my friends, her mother named her daughter after me.
Okay.
I used to help her out when I was younger a lot. So,
Okay. I think I see it. Azores dot blues and
oh
spirituals.
yeah, so that's another one. Yeah, that was a business page. Yeah, but I'm because I'm not so social media savvy, like I have to change that one up a bit. But my personal page, is more so Facebook. They have had me on a restriction from a previous business that I had, and I'm still trying to work things out with them.
Oh my
So
goodness.
yes.
Okay, I do see the Azores dot blues and spirituals, 'cause that's what I
Mhm.
got from the LinkedIn. Okay. And so tell us again what your services are. You help people.
Okay, right now, what I'm offering, they're Kundalini yoga classes, or, I like to call them mommy's meditative moments, but anyone is welcome to come. You don't have to be a mom. Um, I call it mommy's meditative moments because these are my moments that I have to myself in the mornings, and, I'm now sharing them with anyone who wants to join. That's what's offered right now, the Kundalini yoga classes. In the next couple of weeks, awareness coaching, and that's just like an overall holistic wellness coaching. We'll take a look at your overall diet, if you just need someone to talk to. I am here. I know a lot of people say unbiased, but I am very unbiased. I like to also share some of my experiences, that I've been through, just to let people know, like, that we all have a story no matter what. And I have no right to judge anyone. Um, but yeah, those are the services that are coming up. I'm also in the process of working on like a chakra unblocking course. Yeah, but that's going to be a self-paced, self-paced kind of thing. I am halfway through. We are on the heart chakra. So I think I'm a little more than halfway through, but yeah.
Mhm. Okay, so that's going to be coming up.
Yes. Hmm.
Okay, okay. All right. That sounds good. That sounds very interesting. I love chakra work.
Me
Okay.
too.
Okay. So I'm just seeing, yeah, definitely glad to have been able to share your contact information, because I definitely have some people um watching here. And just one more thing, your gardening. You mentioned gardening
Mhm.
and herbalism. So are you becoming an herbalist?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, my son and I, we actually started out with studying herbalism together at first in 2020. He was one of the younger people who was affected greatly, by the pandemic. He was in his senior year of high school, so he didn't get to experience the prom, the proper graduation, things like that. And although I wanted to learn how to garden, just to know how to grow my own foods, we started gardening for therapeutic purposes, but I grew to love it. Like my first year, I grew zucchini and I killed them. Zucchini and sunflowers. I didn't realize like that I needed a bigger pot, things like that. But year two, I tackled it. And I was giving away zucchini, cucumbers, tomatoes. That I think, yeah, that was year two. And then, afterwards I started to expand. I I am the person where once I'm interested in something a little bit, I can become a little obsessive over it, especially things that are beneficial. Um, and I really started the gardening because once I saw some of the, like how some of our kitchen herbs are so healing, I was like, instead of me buying these things from other people, be it dried or, still fresh, why don't I try to grow this stuff myself, so that we can always have abundance of it. And then not only that, I'm a big sharer. I love to share everything with everyone. So, that was the thought process behind it. And it became like an extreme happy place for me. But as I stated, therapeutic as well. Like I I know that I grew so much from gardening. Like I wasn't a very patient person at first, and you have to be patient when gardening, or else you'll just give up on your seeds really quick.
And you could say giving up on your seeds if you're on the, healing path. It's like, giving up on yourself and,
That's
you know,
right.
nur- nurturing yourself.
Yeah.
Mm, okay. Okay. Well, I definitely want to extend thanks. Yeah, we just met a week ago.
Mhm.
And I just knew, like, when you were talking, it's like, I have to have you share your story. Like, your
Oh, thank
story,
you.
yeah, your story needs to be heard because I'm sure someone will be watching and will feel like they can relate because they may have had the same experiences that you had and may have felt the same kind of isolation. So I'm a big believer in stories healing because it lets people know that they're not alone. So I greatly appreciate you coming and sharing you with us today.
Thank you. I thank you so much for having me. Like you just don't know how much it means to me. It was, I mean, it was really very confirming. Like I have I have another girlfriend where we're both she's my spiritual sister. We speak on like the many collaborations that we want to do, and I've been bugging her ear like, girl, I keep seeing the word shaman. She's like, because you a shaman. I'm like, but you are too. She's like, but I'm not as close as you are. So, you claim it first. And like it it was very confirming, like just overall to have met you when I did, and to be able to do this. So you know what, something else that I wanted to share because you asked about the services. So what I started doing also seasonal, um, as the seed, like once we get right before spring, I offer gardening classes, virtual gardening classes, where we can learn to garden together. Um, I started offering these classes because a lot of people think that because we are in small spaces that we can't grow our own foods, and you can, you know, like you really can. So I started offering the classes to show people, like the many ways that they can grow foods in their own home. And those services I don't charge, for the gardening classes. I call them connections through gardening. The only thing like that I do charge for, I have seed starting kits. Like I have a medicinal herb starting kit that I sell, as well as a salad starting kit. They're very beginner friendly. for people who have never gardened before. And we really do, step by step with each other. When the classes start back up again, because I won't start them again until like February or so, right before spring comes back in. But we meet weekly Sunday mornings. I love to get up Sunday mornings and, mess with my plants, take care of them, garden. So, I think that it's a really good day and time to garden.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And I know, I'm sure up where you are, the foliage and the view is just absolutely beautiful. So it's just, I imagine it's setting the right conditions for like the springtime planting.
Well, I'm in an apartment still. Like I live in a condo and I'm on the second floor. So I do stand out. Like this year was the first year where I tried corn. So imagine you see these tall ears of corn in a raised bed planter on a balcony. So many of my neighbors, they were like, "Can I have some?" So yeah.
Okay, well, that's wonderful because since you said that you are a sharer, so that's wonderful. So, again, this has been really, really wonderful. Definitely, I myself am looking to, making another trip up, you know, up upstate, quote unquote, upstate.
We still upstate. That's right. To us, it is.
So I'm just really, really grateful. Like I said, synchronicity and everything. Like I have to be connected with her because I'm about all of the things, and I really appreciate this. So I want to thank you for being here and sharing your story and sharing yourself. Thank you so very much.
Thank
And
you.
for everyone watching, this has been Transformation Thursday, week 152. Yes,
Mhm.
152. And so I'm very honored to have had Miss Azure Bleu speaking on
It's
Kundalini work.
sorry. It's Azure Blue. Azure Blue.
Azure.
Yep,
Uh,
Azure.
oh, I'm sorry,
It's
Azure
okay.
Blue.
Yep, it's okay.
I know it's only been a week. So I'm speaking on Kundalini and breathwork and shamanism, and you'll be able to see the replay on the Bronx Holistic Healing on Instagram, and it is on my personal Avenue Bronx on Facebook, and you can always email me to also get the link to the Zoom. So thank you again for everyone. Transformation Thursday happens mostly on Thursdays, sometimes Tuesdays, but mostly Thursdays around 7:15, 7:20. I'll be on eventually. So I appreciate everyone who has tuned in. Okay, thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
you.